it's interesting. We talk about strategies in a bear market, but there's one strategy that hasn't quite come up yet. And that strategy has to do with migration. So Michael Terpin has been pivotal in the Puerto Rico ecosystem. He has definitely helped make people more aware, and of course also has embraced the Puerto Rican culture, being my favorite honorary Boricua. We share a very similar taste in Benin, which I always love to enjoy at CoinAgenda Caribbean. But nonetheless, aside from Puerto Rico, Michael is also now working on a new project called Transform Greece, which is a golden visa program. So here to share more about that is the man, the legend himself, Mr. Michael Terpin and Joyce Chow. Thank you both.
Okay, so as many of you know, I was the first person to move to Puerto Rico in 2016 from the crypto world, and now there's over 700 of us there. And that led me to being called everything from Patient Zero by Barack Pierce, who came down 2 years later, to my favorite, which is Dan Moorhead, a billionaire hedge fund manager who moved his entire operation from San Francisco, along with himself, to Puerto Rico in 2021. Called me the Messiah because I was just leading all these people to the promised land of Puerto Rico. So I've heard from a number of other jurisdictions about, like, how do we do this? And you all know Joyce Chow by now. She's I first met Joyce 10 years ago when she was a reporter at the launch of when we were launching Ethereum, and we stayed in touch over the years. And I have had her moderate different panels in the Web3 film area, which is one of her specialties. I did not know until recently that she actually had been a consultant to some international companies, including one called Mentora Development, which is sort of a broad-based conglomerate in Athens that's involved with pharmaceuticals and tourism and development. And apparently they were looking to launch a major initiative to help bring more golden visa holders into Greece and really better compete with Portugal, which has been hugely successful. In the last couple of years, they've had over 10,000 golden visas issued. And a lot of that was from the digital, the digital native, the digital tourist, the digital nomad. Sorry, that's been a long day. The digital nomad community. And one part of it was them saying, hey, if you're in Portugal, zero tax on your crypto income, which is similar to Puerto Rico, except that Portugal does not, Americans are still taxed on their worldwide income. So really the taxation part of any of the EU golden visas and some of the other tax things are typically for non-Americans, but Canadians, UK, South African, Australian, Hong Kong, come on down. There's some interesting tax arbitrage. But the other thing, even for Americans, would be a lot of them are looking to go and be able to spend more time in Europe. Many people are sort of troubled by politics on both sides of the aisle, and maybe wanting to get out of, say, California or New York, but they don't want to maybe move all the way down to Puerto Rico, but they can just basically be not in California or New York and travel around. The problem is that if you want to spend a lot of your time in Europe, as an American, if you don't have a European residency, you have to leave quite often. And that goes away if you have a European residency. So these golden visa programs have become very popular over the last few years. Portugal is, again, probably the best known one. And they, however, have sort of, I'm annoyed when different, and I've been sort of talking on panels a lot about jurisdictional arbitrage on the regulatory front for crypto, going all the way back to 2013, 2014. And it seems like a lot of jurisdictions will play what I call the bait and switch. So in 2013, there was a conference that the Isle of Man put on and said, hey, everybody come down. We're going to become the most friendly place in the world to build a crypto company. And all these people started looking to move to the Isle of Man. And then the central bank there said, oh, no, we don't want you here. And so you have to get, your kind of regulators and your politicians, your business development people in line. Many of you know I have a Bermuda company. I've been very bullish on promoting Bermuda for business. I'm friends with the premier there who basically says, I don't travel anywhere without my central banker with me and with my, they're all in the same building. That's the nice thing about some of these small jurisdictions. And so that's great for the Caribbean. They, however, don't have like a golden visa program in Bermuda. And under the sort of the multiple flags theory, you want to sort of diversify. You might want to maybe have, say, a company that you like their jurisdictional approach in the Caribbean. Again, I'm a fan of Bermuda. There's some other jurisdictions, BVI, that are good for certain things. And then for, kind of a second passport or a second European residency card, there are several ones that compete against each other. Monaco has been a very, popular option, but extremely expensive. And then Greece, for a couple of years now, has been the least expensive option, 250,000 euros instead of most of them are 500,000 or higher. And Portugal also is starting to, they've announced that they're going to sunset the zero tax clause on cryptocurrency. And more importantly, they've announced that for their program, which is 500,000 euros, you can no longer buy in Lisbon or Porto. There's not a lot of other places people want to live in that area or rent. And so the other thing is also interesting about the entire golden visa is once you go in there, if you go to, say, like Henley or Levita or one of the big brokers, they'll just sort of point you towards something that looks at like Realtor.com and say, hey, we've got all these properties, you can buy one. Well, what do you do then? Who's going to help you rent it? You're not, unless you're moving there full time, you're probably not going to be wanting that. You're going to want to rent it out, manage it, et cetera. And so when I met the folks at Mentora Development, I was very impressed with the solution they came up with. And they basically wanted somebody who was well known in the crypto world to help the market. And I got very, very excited about this program. Also proposed they're going to add NFTs to it, which they will. So when you do your investment here, you're going to get an NFT with some of the different benefits you get from the program. It will not be a government-issued NFT. It'll be by the program, but we're going to work on the government being able to issue them as well. Do we have some water here? Hold on.
What are you looking for?
I'll eventually let Joyce talk.
I was letting you talk. You were doing such a great job.
Tell you what, why don't you continue, and I'm going to drink some water.
Okay, here's the best part about it is I'm from Southern California, and this is Athens, which means you get Southern California weather in Europe. This is not Amsterdam. This is not London. You get Southern California weather, and you can like hang out.
It's 82 degrees today in Athens.
It's 82? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Okay. And, here's the cool part is instead of being sent to some site that looks like realtor.com and you're going like, well, I don't know the area. Where do we go? Well, we've got a hotel. And this is a luxury hotel. We're putting the Medi Spa in it. And we're already talking to Nobu, who's sending their architects out. So we'll have a Nobu restaurant, a Medi Spa with anti-aging, ozone chambers, yes, and all those things that you really need when you really want a vacation. Great part is you can stay there a month, a year, and we also have a guaranteed return. When we say guarantee, it's not like, oh yeah, we'll guarantee it. It's like you do those things and it's for the life of however long the company stays in existence. This is a guarantee by Lloyd's of London. So we've been looking at all these different attributes as to what is the most desirable. And Michael's been really key because he knows what all these digital nomads have been looking at and what they like and what appeals to you guys. And so we're just trying to create the perfect package to really create our own community in Athens. And we're expanding.
So again, not in Athens. This is actually the Greek islands.
This is Kos.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, but this is better. You know why? Because it's based out of Athens, but Kos is the island of Hippocrates. And I think, don't they have the best beaches in Greece?
If anybody's been to the Greek islands, they're all beautiful. But yes, Kos is considered by many to have the best islands, the best beaches. But this is actually just the start. There's Olivia Boutique Hotel is the first one we've got 73 rooms, and then there's one called Artemis, which is literally right next door. So they're both on the beach, and that one they're going to be bringing in a Buddha bar, and that's 100 units. The 73 are the ones that are for sale now. The 100 units are going to be for sale in about 2 months. When they're gone, they're gone. And then they're working on things on Mykonos and Santorini. As of January 1st, it's a $500,000 minimum for anything in Athens or Thessaloniki. But the Greek islands are still going to be at $250,000. The reason they decided to raise it for Athens is apparently they were saying, there was, political parties saying, when we need to save like the real estate for the Greek people, we want to make sure that they're not driving up rent prices. Not the issue in the Greek islands. It's all tourism islands anyway. But I have not seen any other programs where basically you're able to go in, stay a month, and not have to worry about, instead of a timeshare where you're paying people, you're getting paid. So for your 250,000 euros plus an 18,000 one-time legal fee, you're going to get 25,000 per year as your residual for your share of the profits on the hotel. That's for the first 3 years guaranteed. So we think they're going to go fast. I know it sounds like an ad, it kind of is, but I don't put my name to too many things. I've only opened up 2 new companies this year. One was Open Carbon that you heard about, and this one, they basically wanted me to form a new company with them, and they wanted me to use the Transform brand. So that's why it's called Transform Greece.
Mm-hmm. And Transform Greece is a partnership with Mentor Development and, of course, Transform Ventures.
And do you have anything else? You talk about the access to some of the other benefits?
Oh, yeah. Oh, did we say visa-free travel? And I just like to say Europe, Schengen area, 27 countries in Europe, okay? 5-year residency permits, and you can go ahead and renew it.
You can also have access to the Greek education system. My wife had asked, how about the medical system? Yes, you have access to the Greek medical system. You can also open a business in Greece. And then there is one that is more for non-Americans, apparently some strategies for Americans, but and this one is for a 500,000 minimum. So either one of the properties will be offering in Athens, or you just simply get 2 of the units. What they call the non-dom, it's non-domicile tax regime. They already have these in Italy and Ireland, but those places don't have golden visas. You have to be of that heritage. And basically, you'll be able to go and transfer your tax residence to Greece. And the favorable rate, go to the next slide. Fine print. Basically, the summary here is that for 100,000 euros a year, that's all you pay. Doesn't matter what your income is. If you make $1 billion in profits, you're still going to pay 100,000, and that's it for your global income tax responsibility, unless you're an American.
I think that's pretty cool.
And
I didn't realize it was going to look so little.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so. That's it. Again, the fine print, you can't have been a tax resident of Greece the 7 of the 8 last years, and your investment has to be completed within 3 years of the application date. And again, this is probably more for a select group of like maybe Brits and Canadians. I don't know how many of those are in the room here. But for Americans, it's really about having a 10% return on an investment, being able to also get 4 weeks in the Greek islands, and have a golden visa where you can stay in Europe as long as you want and stay in the short line. If you've gone in, there's the long line and the short line. All of a sudden you'll be in the. They're going, any European residency cards? Yeah, that's the one. And I think one last slide, right? That's the team. That's Alex Hatsimihal. I know it sounds like a sneeze, but he's a very cool guy. And he comes from a long family of entrepreneurs and people in the hospitality industry in both Australia and Greece. And I was just over in Athens a few weeks ago to kind of close on starting the company, and very impressed with the people in his group, all the accountants and lawyers. I call them the Legion of Georges because they're all called George, but I guess that's Greece. And ended up getting to go, and for those of you who've seen my Facebook page, go and see an opera at the Acropolis. Got first seat, sitting next to the Archbishop. So they Mentora sponsored that concert, and we are looking at actually moving CoinAgenda Europe next year. We've done 2 years in a row now in Monaco, and I would certainly be not a real promoter of Greece if I was going to Monaco again. So we are going to move CoinAgenda Europe this coming year, first week of October in Athens. And we will have that as part of an Aegean blockchain week. And I think that's the gist of it. Anything else you want to add?
We're just really excited about Greece because here we can build our community over there. It's a lot of people we're going to know, and we're going to be hanging out at our own little hotel, right? With many spots. You can hang out and have the Nobu, the Buddha Bar, beachfront, run over to Santorini and Mykonos.
Yeah, and all the islands, the major islands, are connected by not just fast speed boats, but also very fast speed planes. You can get from Athens to Kos in under an hour.
But we're looking forward to seeing you guys there next year because, oh, wait a minute, somebody's got a question. Because they have great food and wine.
Okay, questions? Doug?
Doug.
Can you tell us about the room? Small hotel room, kitchenettes, or what's the amenities?
The amenities in each room.
That's a really good question. It's going to be a luxury hotel, but we didn't get that specific yet.
I know that they're going to be going for about $450 a night during the season. So, I mean, it's a hotel room. It's not like a 3-bedroom condo or anything like that.
Is there a kitchen or just a hotel room?
It's a hotel room in a luxury hotel. Yeah.
Restaurants in the hotel?
Nobu and Buddha Bar. And then it's in the downtown, it's in the beachfront area of Kos. Lots of stuff nearby. It's not in the middle of nowhere, no. Yes?
What is Greece's structure with supporting DAOs? And so not only bringing over, the tax requirements, but
Right. Very, very good question. I am told right now there is no regulation on cryptocurrency in Greece. They just simply support whatever the EU says. So as long as it's legal in the EU, there is no additional regulation or restriction in Greece. And it seems like a very supportive government. It's a small country, like 11, 12 million, to be able to go and get some initiatives there. Just like when we moved down to Puerto Rico, we've been able to slowly, make some changes by the number of people we've had down there in an area to make some change. But obviously, the EU generally prevails. That's the positive and the minus of being in the EU.
And then also, I know like some of the other countries that have done golden visas have also done, I don't know what it's called, like influencer imports, where they cover that to get, influencers and people to help push. Is Greece doing that too, to help push out the golden visa program, or have they handed that all to you?
Yeah, I guess we're their influencer. So now this is again, this is Transform Greece, which is a partnership with Mentora Development under the stamp of approval of the economics minister of Greece. I was meeting with him. His name's Adonis. With him a week and a half ago, and there's nothing to go and go and pay influencers to go tweet about it or anything like that. We think these hotels will sell fairly fast. So yes.
Maybe a dumb question, but does the Golden Visa program give opportunity to potentially get a European passport?
Yes. So it's the same terms as Portugal, which is after 7 years. Doug. It's a hotel room, it's furnished, and you own it. So if you don't want the 10%, you can move in.
Okay, and then you guys manage it, right? When you're not there.
Correct. Yeah, so if you want to be there more than 1 month, you just would get less of a return, but that is negotiable.
So 1 month for sure.
1 month plus 10%. 1 month for no penalty against your return. 2 weeks in season, 2 weeks out of season. Harrison.
I just walked in. Did you mention 40%?
I did not. For anybody in the film industry, and you want to go to Greece, and you can start a company there. There's a 40% tax break for film
And digital games. Digital games also,
and digital gains.
documentaries and TV series.
Yep. So that's digital games and film. So if you want to go and build, I guess, a metaverse, you can get tax breaks on your metaverse. Also, I did a lot of research before going over and found that there was $4.5 billion of venture capital money invested in Greece in the last 10 years. It was way higher than I thought. There's a couple of venture funds over there. Can't announce it yet, but I'm exploring doing a venture fund called the Aegean Blockchain Fund as part of this entire initiative too. It'll be a separate company, but I've gotten a lot of encouragement to do that. And in Portugal, if you invest in a fund, it's a $1.6 million minimum, which is why most people do real estate. In Greece, it's $400,000. And you can do it over a 3-year period, as opposed to the real estate has to be right away. So whatever fund we end up doing, which again, code name right now is Aegean Blockchain Fund, it would be $400,000 would get you your visa without having to buy any real estate. And it would be a traditional venture fund as opposed to a hedge fund. I think there's way too many hedge funds out there right now and not enough venture funds. And venture funds, of course, are, not mark to market. They're capital calls. So if you're putting a $400,000 investment in, your initial call is going to be maybe $100,000. So for $100,000, you get your plus your 18,000 processing. You end up getting your golden visa, and then you get another capital call a year later, another capital call a year later, and the final capital call before the end of the 36-month period that you have to put your whole 400,000 in.
And I think we have two more.
Okay, why don't you point them out so I can have some more water? I'm not used to the Vegas. I've been away from Vegas too long. I'm not used to the dryness yet.
Erson?
Just curious, what's your, you mentioned Portugal, what's your take on St. Kitts?
I'm sorry, my take on what?
St. Kitts.
Oh, okay. So I've looked at a number of different visa programs. I think in the Caribbean, I'm still considering. I'm going to get Greece, but there are reasons if you want to go and get CARICOM membership, which is the Caribbean countries. There's several of the visas down there. I think the best one is Antigua and Barbuda. St. Kitts has a hotel option. They tell you that you'll get somewhere between 3 and 7% on theirs. It's not guaranteed, and I know people have done it. It's closer to 3. And I don't think you can, I think you get 1 week there during the year. And you do have access to the Schengen states, but it can be revoked at any time. So as opposed to if you're in the EU, unless Greece gets kicked out of the EU, it's good forever. So I think they're different things. I know many people have multiple passports, and like I said, I've looked at St. Lucia, and I've looked at Grenada, and I've looked at St. Kitts was not my favorite of the islands. I mean, I think a number of people in the crypto world went there because Roger Ver went there, but that was like the only one back then. They were the first ones to actually do golden visa programs, and it's not a place you want to live. Not that you're going to want to live there. I mean, Roger's living in St. Bart's, but they don't have a golden visa. But it is part of that Caribbean thing. If you're in the Caribbean, you can kind of spend more time in the Caribbean. I live in Puerto Rico, so I'm already in the Caribbean. Yes, all the way in the back.
So, as a tax strategy, I'm very curious how moving to Greece and getting yourself on their tax system compares to other strategies like taking out a share secured loan and moving to Puerto Rico. Do you have any numbers on that?
Well, sure. Moving to Puerto Rico is the only option for an American to pay 0 on your capital gains and 4% on your company because Americans are taxed on their worldwide income every place except for the territories. And the 5 American territories, you're taxed on your worldwide income, but you're taxed by the territory. Puerto Rico is the only one that currently has a deal with the IRS that if you become a bona fide resident under the kind of rules that you can't have lived in Puerto Rico for the last like 6 years or between a certain number of years. Then you can go and qualify what's called Act 60. When I was there, it was called Act 20 and Act 22. It's good through the year 2035. Then it expires. The Greece ones are good for 15 years. For the non-dom, it's good for life for the golden visas. But on the tax strategy, basically, Greece is not a tax strategy for Americans. I mean, it could be part of a tax strategy, but if you're an American, that's you're still responsible for your worldwide income. Yep. Yep.
How do you make sure that the return is guaranteed?
It's guaranteed by Lloyd's of London, and they basically looked at the performance of the group, and they were willing to go, and Mentora is paying a fee to basically buy the insurance. And they're having to back up, to get that guarantee, they're having to back up assets of the building, the meta spa revenues, restaurant revenues, things like that. So it's over collateralized.
One thing I'm curious about, I'm kind of confused on, is that a 10% return on the gross revenue that comes in?
No. It's a 10% return on your investment. You put down $250,000, you get $25,000 back year one, $25,000 back year two, $25,000 year back three. It's guaranteed for the first 3 years. After that, it's going to be a percentage that should be near that.
Gotcha. Okay. And then you still have the $250K in equity.
Correct. Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and then it's transformgreece.com, and the brochures are up there, and info at transformgreece.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Transform Greece, everyone.